Carol Burnett spent a lifetime making America laugh, building a reputation for warmth, generosity, and grace through the Carol Burnett Show, and for decades fans believed her kindness had no limits and that she never carried grudges. But in her later years she finally revealed a truth that shocked even her closest admirers. There were men she genuinely hated, not out of pettiness, but because they humiliated her publicly, diminished her privately, or tried to steal the very work that defined her legacy. And the first name on that unspoken list was one everyone recognized: Marlon Brando, the untouchable icon who crossed a line Carol never forgave, when in the summer of 1972, just months after The Godfather had elevated him to near-mythic status, Carol was jolted awake by a relentless phone ringing and heard Brando's unmistakable voice tell her, "I've been watching you." A call that began like a prank but turned unsettling when he implied she'd be better if she loosened up like actresses he'd been with, a loaded remark that left her shaken, only to worsen when a reporter later claimed Brando had praised her femininity in a private conversation, and Brando himself dismissed her discomfort by sneering that comedians were sensitive women, reducing her to a joke and making Carol feel small in a way she'd spent her whole life fighting against, prompting her to vow she would never share a room with him again, a promise she kept for 3 decades. The second betrayal came from Cary Grant, the polished Hollywood gentleman no one expects to see on a blacklist. But Carol never forgot the night in 1968 at a Beverly Hilton gala when, after she approached him to offer congratulations, he mocked her comedy loudly enough for others to hear, dismissing her success as meaningless arm-waving and later leaning toward Elizabeth Taylor to declare she wasn't a real actress but a housewife who got lucky, a cruelty disguised as elegance that humiliated her in the most powerful room in the industry and led her to refuse a lucrative Paramount co-starring offer years later with the simple conviction, "I won't work with a man who belittles women." Then there was Lorne Michaels, a feud born not on stage but in silence, when in 1975, as critics openly said Carol Burnett should be the perfect host for the brand new Saturday Night Live, a private NBC meeting ended with Michaels allegedly declaring her the face of old television and mocking her comedy as outdated, words that reached Carol quickly and cut deeply, not because she wanted SNL, but because she had spent her life opening doors for women only to have one slammed shut without even a meeting, a divide that lasted decades as invitations were quietly blocked and handwritten notes labeled her not relevant, until Carol later reflected with calm finality that she didn't need them either. More painful still was Harvey Korman, her trusted partner and beloved collaborator, whose resentment surfaced during a 1974 rehearsal when a minor lighting mistake triggered an outburst in which he snapped at the crew that he was tired of cleaning up her mistakes, revealing a jealousy Carol never suspected, and when he finally admitted he was tired of being second on her show, the words wounded her far deeper than anger ever could, leading to a tearful retreat behind a locked dressing room door and an apology she accepted with kindness but never forgot, quietly acknowledging that forgiveness didn't repair what had broken. The deepest betrayal, however, came from Joe Hamilton, her husband, producer, and partner, who in 1982 was discovered to have quietly registered companies and spin-offs, most notably Mama's Family, built from Carol's creations without listing her as a creator or owner, and when confronted, coldly told her, "You're the talent, I'm the brain," a confession that revealed not just arrogance but intent, soon compounded by the realization that his long-running affair had been happening while she carried the weight of their family and show, leading to a brutal divorce battle over ownership of her own work, a year that drained her emotionally and professionally, and when Joe died years later, Carol chose not to attend the funeral, sending only white flowers and a note wishing peace while privately admitting that some wounds don't heal, they simply settle. Carol Burnett made the world laugh, but behind the laughter were quiet scars left by 5 men who taught her that grace doesn't mean forgetting, and strength sometimes means walking away without ever looking back.